Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. My name's Alex, and the topic of my short video today is going to be about mating psychology. And I'll keep this brief, but I was trying to think of a topic for this morning, and I was browsing through Instagram, and then I read a little bit of this book, and this stood out to me, so I thought I'd share this with you guys. And it's very interesting. It's about the concept of mate copying. And then I have a suggestion for the men out there who are maybe have an appearance deficit, which is a euphemism for being maybe not so physically attractive. But here's one suggestion that you can do to up your market value perception. But there's some data here that I think that both men and women will just find really interesting. And I think that this research is probably like 10 to 12 years old now, but I think it's more relevant than ever because of the way like social media has just kind of accelerated or exaggerated like some of these behaviors. And this one, mate copying, is a behavior that I think a human trait that's totally exaggerated by social media, and you'll see what I mean in a second. But I'm just going to read this briefly. Simply put, women like men who are liked by women. This makes sense. Sometimes a potential mate's value is ambiguous. Under these conditions, the opinions of others can heavily influence how that person is perceived. In social psychology, this is referred to as social proofing. As Francis de la Rochefoucauld once put it, before we set our hearts too much upon anything, let us first examine how happy those are who already possess it. Evolutionary psychologists call the process by which people choose mates who have been chosen by others mate copying, and refer to the strategy as a conformity heuristic. This phenomenon has been documented in other species such as birds and fish. In humans, mate copying happens quite frequently and may function as a shortcut for learning about a person's mate value that is not easily attainable on first glance. A little bit of personal commentary here. When I people watch in the city of Toronto and I observe couples in the park or walking by me on the street, and then I also look at what's going on social media, this is just a personal thing here. It seems like there's a very dysgenic effect going on in the population in general, and I understand, like, as a man, like competing with other men to look like an attractive mate, potential mate for women, but the weirdos that women are walking around with these days it's absolutely bizarre. And then they're either going for, well, there's a few different things going on, like different types of guys out there that seem to be really popular, and I think it's because of social media changing the way certain things are perceived, and young women just having no idea how to judge things anymore other than by looking at what's already popular on the internet. So you'll see what I mean in a moment here as I elaborate a bit. But often people mistakenly believe that they are making decisions about a person based on the information they gleaned from the situation, which in fact they are really basing their decisions on how other people reacted to the situation. Mate copying usually occurs in ambiguous situations where someone is observed to be of high mate value or is told that they have high mate value. Indeed, gossip relating to the sexual domain may just be the most widely spread behavior of human nature. Consider the following set of results relating to the prominence of mate copying in human mating and what factors increase the likelihood that a person will use a conformity heuristic in choosing a mate. This is where it gets interesting. Both men and women can be influenced by social information about a person when choosing both a short-term and long-term mate. Female mate copying is influenced by the amount of time spent looking at the partner, whereas male mate copying is influenced by the amount of time looking back and forth between the partner and the mate. Women, but not men, show a decrease in interest after watching a date in which the individuals are clearly not interested in each other. Females do show an increase in interest, however, if the individuals look like they are clearly interested in each other. Women tend to be more interested in a man as a potential mate if the man is surrounded by other interested females and/or is clearly committed, i.e. married. These cues hardly influence a potential friend or potential co-worker. A woman's recommendation can be quite a potent force for other women, sometimes even overriding what women initially consciously think will attract themselves to a man. Examples: looks, age, height, humor. Finding out that a potential partner was rejected by his or her last partner negatively affects participants' desire to pursue a romantic relationship with that person. Females spend more time looking at a man when he is shown next to an attractive woman compared with when he is shown next to women lower in attractiveness. Sexually experienced women are less likely to use the conformity heuristic. This is presumably because more experienced women have more confidence in what they want in a partner. Males tend to show greater mate copying of women whose attractiveness approaches or surpasses their own. This effect does not hold for women. Men tend to like another man less if he receives a smile from a woman. Presumably, this is because in such cases, men tend to feel threatened by such men. That's interesting. Men definitely feel threatened by other attractive men, it seems. Some of these things are not symmetrical between the sexes. And what they're basically saying here, there's 2 more points, I'll read these first. The conformity heuristic is stronger for already unattractive men, although this is most likely due to a statistical artifact called regression towards the mean, whereby variables that are extreme on first measurement tend to be closer to the average when later measured. And this is the key takeaway here. So this is like what I was going to advise to certain guys out there. Those who pay the highest price of the conformity heuristic are undesirable men. So what's an undesirable man to do? He can try to create conditions in which he appears in demand by many women, perhaps surrounding himself with a lot of female friends. So, in other words, women think that men that appear attractive to women, it makes them more attractive, like in the perceptions of other women. So, here's some commentary. There's a lot of guys in their 20s that I have observed over the last, say, 7 or 8 years, where because of cultural influences, they became very bitter. And gender relations are really bad because of all this toxic crap that's on the internet and manosphere stuff and everything. And I know a lot of guys who are like in the incel category, and they're very bitter now. And everything they do is, it's like a snake eating their own tail. It's become like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they give off these really vibes of resentment that are like extremely easy to pick up on. So what they ought to be doing is trying to demonstrate on social media, because like in today's world, you do need social media to basically demonstrate things, because the old way of socializing is gone. This is a very novel environment, right? It's not natural. If you're intelligent, you have to think about how you're going to adapt to this. So you kind of need a way to demonstrate certain things. And the vibe they give off is that they hate, that they're women haters, right? And what they ought to be doing is trying to signal that they have like healthy platonic friends with attractive women. Or like that's all they can do. If they can create the perception on social media that there's a lot of women that are attracted to them for some reason because they're good at some skill, like playing a musical instrument or being funny or something, to compensate for their appearance deficit, that's the best way to go, right? To come across as less bitter and less resentful, and like having some social skills with the opposite sex, instead of being some weird incel person that's sure, it's I have empathy for people that are in a certain condition, but watching them get more and more resentful and angry as time goes on is sad, right? So they should think about some stuff there, because mate copying, it's like extremely relevant now, especially because people socialize in person way less, and so everyone's just looking at people's social media stuff and like trying to judge like who's attractive based on who's popular and stuff like that. So this definitely happens. It's a big thing, mate copying. And it's something you should take into consideration, because you can use it like an applied science for yourself possibly, and be aware of like how it affects other people's perceptions of you. And I thought that was an interesting bit of information to share with some of you guys, so I wanted to give you those insights. So I'll keep this video under 10 minutes, and so I appreciate you guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I don't anticipate this kind of content to get very popular, because it's very niche. It's for people that are like interested in intellectual stuff or personal development or whatever. So word of mouth is kind of the only way I can grow this. So please, if you value these little videos, just like recommend them to people through, DM your friends and be like, check out this channel or something like that. I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, I hope you get some value out of my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.